Welcome to another edition of Mortgage Talks. I'm your host, Adam Hires. Man, oh man, am I excited for today's podcast. As you all know, I am continuing to share this journey with you. Absolutely zero, zilch, zero contacts, zero loans, zero credit pulls, all that good jazz, going to from there to 150 loans in a new state that I don't know anybody from, to 150 in Georgia. I already have a business that I have continuing to grow in Kentucky as a mortgage loan officer. It's going great. In 1 3-day period last week, I had 20 or 21 people apply with me in Kentucky. Things are going well there. We're continuing to grow, but now the challenge is to grow in a new state. I love that challenge. I want to share with you, the journey, how I'm falling on my face, how I'm rising up, how I'm having the victories, everything in between. I don't want to live in this ivory tower any longer on this podcast and go, hey, listen, this is how I did it in a day, and it's how I'm doing it now. I'm growing my business, and I walked uphill both ways, and or things are so easy, it just falls from the skies, like people say, and all these other programs. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm not here to sell you anything but sell yourself on the fact that you can grow your business anywhere, any place, anytime, wherever you're at. If you're doing 5 loans a month, you're doing 10 loans a month, you can scale it to 10, 20, 30, whatever loans you want. You can move to a new state. However you want to run your business is how I want you to run your business. So this is just a journey to help you grow. So I want you to tune in from an open mind and not think, hey, I'm here just to sell you a whole bunch of garbage and get you into a program. It's here really to just arm you with the best possible mindset and information. And today is no different, because in this journey, I'm going to have high-level guests on here that's going to answer some questions about what they do, what their why is, how they're growing their business, and I'm also going to ask them how would they grow their business if they're in my shoes, going to a new state and in this journey. So you can learn from some of the best in the business, in different businesses, how they would look at it if they're a mortgage loan officer, or if you're a real estate agent, or if you're an insurance agent. How are you going to grow your business in 2021? How does that look for you? And today I'm super, super pumped. I've never been so pumped for a guest to come on my show. And why I did not ask this man to come on my show earlier in this is really, I don't know. Sometimes you're the ones you're biggest fans of, and you work so closely with. Sometimes for some reason, you just don't invite him on the show. I'm not sure, but we have. And by the way, every time I say his name, I'm going to say it very boisterous, because it just his name is so cool. I like to say it, and I always say his name. He said, please introduce me that way every single time you talk, and I'm going to do it. So we got Dallas Hardcastle on here. Dallas Hardcastle. This guy, I'm telling you, you want to listen in. He operates at a different level than other people do. He thinks differently. His actions, his thought processes are just at a different level. He teaches his daughter at a different level. The way he operates and teaches and coaches is just phenomenal. I just cannot say enough good things about him. He personally coached me from my Hires coaching and grew my business. And it wasn't just about business. It grew my mindset. It grew me, helped me grow as a person. So I'm super pumped. You got to listen up. And he has some really big tactile ways for you out there, mortgage loan officers, to grow your business. You want to listen in, clear your desk, clear your emails, clear your mindset, and dial in. Dallas Hardcastle, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, Adam, thank you so much, man. Super, super complimentary, everything you said. So thank you very much. Believe me, the honor is mine, brother. And I am super, super glad to be here. And the thing that you are doing by documenting this journey, that will never receive as much praise and noteworthiness as it deserves, because, if I was to sit there and say, hey, I'm going to begin a journey today of learning to ice skate. I've never put on ice skates before. And in a year, I want to be able to speed skate around a rink, and still get my butt whooped by, a great speed skater, but be able to really speed skate around the rink, and be kind of competitive in a year. People don't do that. They don't start the cameras on day one. They just don't. They start them on day 60, day 75, where you're still pretty clunky. You're still not looking that good, but you've got it kind of figured out. And to be the person who would show like that you don't know how to lace up the skates, that you put the skates on the wrong feet, that you take one step on the ice and you go feet above the head and land on your tailbone and crack the back of your head on the ice, and got to get stretchered off. People just don't do that because it's too much exposure. Mm-hmm. There's too much risk in being able to show what happens in life when the real missteps occur, right? So just a huge kudos to what you're doing, man. It is, people will not recognize the amount of courage and bravery it takes to just step very nakedly in front of the camera and just like, hey, do or die, I'm freaking going 100% for this. And you're going to see the really cool accomplishments and what perseverance and hard work do and what the rewards and results will be. And you're going to also see me step on a couple of slippery spots and maybe one or two landmines. It's part of the journey, but that's where people will get the fact that it ain't going to be perfect. And it may not always be pretty, but damn, I sure as heck know where you're going to wind up in a year. That I know.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It is scary. I mean, right. It was one of those that comes from an idea. You're like, man, this is going to be so great. And then you're about to put it out and you're like, wow, that's okay. That's really scary because I could fall right on my face. Right. And actually not if, I mean, it will, I fall on my face and I'm sure, and I will. And I'm just going to share that because, as I was looking through a podcast, I see, and even myself, I looked at it and there, as you know, there's two ways to really move the needle on anything. It's credibility and relatability. And, I think in some ways, did I lose some of my relatability to some of the audience because I'm like, well, they're sitting there looking at, well, you just kind of came out of the womb doing 20 loans a month, right? And there you are. And it's like, well, I'm doing that and I'm working part-time to do it. And at some point it's not relatable to a lot of people because they're like, well, okay, you're working part-time to do 28 loans a month. That's just not relatable. And through this journey, I want to be, relatable to people that, hey, listen, I understand, man. It sucks sometimes you fall down and but at the end, let's rise up and grow. So yeah, and there's nobody better to have these kinds of conversations with than you because, you certainly fell down, but man, you have risen to great levels and helped others rise to great levels. So I'm looking forward to that. And so Dallas, like who is Dallas Hardcastle? Dallas Hardcastle. There we go. And like, how, what's your why? What do you got going on? Tell us about you. Want to hear that. And it's always great to hear your journey.
I thank you, Adam. Again, I'm super excited to be here. So thank you, man. I guess who I am is I was always kind of pegged as the high energy extrovert who could talk to anybody and didn't know any better than to have somebody point me in the direction of saying, gosh, you can talk to anybody about anything. You should be in sales. And I was like, okay. And I bumbled into sales and, I started the journey of having people teach me how to close, telling me that as, closing. It's all about closing, convincing, overcoming objection, close. Gosh, back when I was getting started in sales, I mean, there was books literally out there that were just like A through Z closing. Mm-hmm. And that was their puffery, right? They would put their chest out and say like, here's the A close, here's the B close, here's the C close, here's the D close. And they literally had just close. And for whatever reason, it just absolutely did not resonate with me. It just didn't. I'm no smarter than the next person. You know that better than anybody. But it just didn't hit me, right? Just the feeling of closing didn't feel right. Closing to me was not an adjective I wanted to attach to anything unless I was trying to get away from it, right? If I'm trying to close off a door, close off a relationship, close off communication with somebody, those are the things I want to do. But anything else in my life that I want to attract, that I want to be around, that I want to have more of, it's about opening, right? Open the relationship, open the dialogue, open the communication, open opportunities, open collaboration. Like all of the things I want to do is based around that. So I went in years and years and years back. I went into a gym to join a membership. The guy came in and gave me the tour, took my driver's license, spent about 45 minutes at the end trying to close me. And it just infuriated me. I mean, I am the least violent person you will ever know. And 45 minutes later, I was like shaking and standing up, trying to reach across the desk for this guy because I was just infuriated. And my best friend got me out of there. He's like, dude, I've never seen you so wound up. And I was just like, I can't believe I could say no 15 times. And this guy is like, oh, you can't. A week or two later, I happened to get hired. It was in college, and I was hired to do to sell in-ground pools. And it was like, you could sell a pool and make $400 or $500 commission. And this is when, minimum wage is, $3.50. So you can do the math there. It's like, you sell a pool in college and, it's like 100 hours of work. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to make so much money. This is going to be amazing. I went into the 4-hour training, and it was just a half day of this guy talking about all of this just crappy, mischievous, underhanded, dark ways of close. And that just ended me. I there just went into kind of the journey of how do I find a way where I can communicate with people on a way that they will want to open up their communication, open up that internal dialogue, open up their hesitations, open up their feedback, open up their values, their belief systems, open all of this stuff up to me so that we can have those deep, penetrating, transparent conversations that really make a difference, that really change their life, that really get them levered to be able to go in a higher, better, different direction than they are currently. And that just came down to communication. It came down to metacognition. It came down to neurolinguistic programming and neuroassociative conditionings and body language and on and on and on. And it was literally the light flip. It was the switch going off where I started to implement that stuff and the conversations just began to change. It was just, Adam, how can I begin to have a really deep, meaningful conversation with you about what you want? Rather than me trying to sell you something, how can we get deep about what you want? And if I can be the one to try to help get you closer to that thing you want, if I have the guts and hopefully and the confidence in what I do, I'm going to raise my hand. Say, Adam, I can help you with that. If I can, I'm also going to have the guts and the confidence and the non-scarcity mindset to say, I'm not your guy, but I think you should talk to this guy or this gal because they're awesome. I mean, that was it. And from there, we began kind of creating all of their trainings and everything was all based around how can we get into such a deep structure conversation with people and understanding what drives them, that selling is removed, helping is what is installed. And the best way I can help you is to have the deepest level of understanding, performance, leadership, deep connectivity. And when that happens, magic, right? Otherwise, you're speaking with filters, barriers, fencing, screening, whatever you want to call it, where I don't get all of the story. Even if I'm only getting 80% of it, that 20% you're holding on to, it hurts us in being able to hit our goal. When I get 100%, boy, we're going to hit it every time.
Yeah, and I know you have the the unclosing is your term, which is exactly what you're talking about. You're not trying to close somebody, and the biggest thing is I always look at it the same way as somebody says, hey, you overheard somebody saying they closed you. It's like, dang, that's like very negative, right? And I think the same thing with I was even talking about this with my staff of creating stories, but other than the fact that like when people closed actually on a home, instead of like making it about us of what we did, it's like that's about the client. Like the client works 30 years of their life, works overtime, does all the right things, pays their bills, and then we help them buy a home, and then we take all the credit, right? Like it's all those things, like we feel like we're in their head, we know better than them, and all this other stuff that goes along with closing of taking credit and all that, that I think is just just the negative filter. And I think that's what, why one of the reasons why people don't want to call people is they have, they know what they're doing is not really as the highest benefit or having the best conversation with people. So it holds them back. I think is one of the reasons people have such a negative connotation around calling people or, having conversations, because they feel like, okay, it's going to be this battle that they have to have,
There's, for a lot of us, there's that thing, as you say, if people aren't making those calls and not wanting to make that, there's that internal dialogue in them that there's something frictional inside that's saying, I know I'm supposed to make this phone call, but it doesn't feel good because there's some imbalance where they feel like they are taking advantage of. They are trying to take ownership of, they are trying to take agency of, they are trying to take a higher level of. So somehow there's this power inefficiency that's created where people don't feel like that they are giving as much as they're trying, as in that imbalance. Unclosing, to me, it's nothing more. It starts with the mindset, right? Of this is about helping the person. And this is not about being one subordinate to the other. This is about full, total equality. I'm no more powerful than you, nor you more than I. It's about total equality. And how can you and I begin a relationship where there's 100 stones to carry to the top of the mountain? I'll carry 50. And if you carry 50, the catch is I will not carry 51. So as long as I carry my load and you carry your load, and we both show up at this thing at equal parts with equal power and equal opportunities to be able to grow, man, like great collaborations, long-term partnerships, like you and I doing stuff together in 10 years, that's the kind of stuff that happens, rather than this short transactional, hey, let me see if I can close somebody. And then 30 days later, you're off to your next gig, your next thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I mean, your dialogue is always, high level. What I'll say about you is that, how I came across you is, there was different, I don't know, there's different ways. All right. I came across you, I think, in different platforms. And then, there's actually an email that, one of your emails that you sent out that I responded to. And then, I was like, just the way that you spoke, or have a conversational tone within your in your emails, for example. Like, I just reached out I know the first time just to talk to you, and I didn't know. I was like, this guy's high level. He's doing a lot of great things. I don't know where he even comes into play of us ever working together, but I want to have a conversation with him. And the thing is that I remember we had the first conversation, went really good. It was just, and you're like, hey, listen, let's set up another conversation. And it was, you made it all about me, and it was just, really a good dialogue. And then our next conversation, we had another, great dialogue. And like, you sure did not close me. That's for sure. Did not close me. I just, all of a sudden I was signing up to work with you. Right. Like, and when it feels so good like that, you're like, okay, the guy's doing it right. He's coming from a point where he wants to help. He knows he can help, and I feel he can help, et cetera. And then, I'm making that decision. You didn't have to try to beat me over the head and make that decision and try to, make me do anything that I didn't want to do. The only thing that you did, which I really, I try to coach people on is acting decisively. Is like, you coached me through the fact that, like, I need to act decisively, whether I'm going to move forward or not. And obviously I moved forward rather quickly. And I think that's one of the things that you've taught me, is acting decisively in everything you do. And I think you even coach you even coach your daughter to act decisively on things too. I love it. But it actually, the highest level people, just make decisions quicker, and more decisively. And I definitely like to talk about that, because that right there is something that mortgage loan officers or anybody needs to go ahead and do, because they're getting stuck in a business where they just need to make the action and do it.
There are two or three things regarding speed that I think are so important. As you say, yeah, like my daughter's actually just right over here. And in it, absolutely, like the speed of doing it, because that one of the greatest energy leaks in our life is from being indecisive and from negotiating with ourselves, right? It's like you talk to people and they are talking about the thing like, oh yeah, I've been thinking about doing that thing for 6 months. And I'm like the amount of energy that takes. And it's not that they maybe are even aware of it, but it's just that 1 or 2 or 3% of energy just every single day as that thing is knocking around the head. The energy leaks of when you have a decision that is not being decided upon in your head, that's an energy leak.
Yeah.
Most people have dozens of those. They have dozens of these things that they're thinking about doing. They're considering. They're getting close to doing. They're almost there. They're almost ready to pull the trigger on. So they have dozens of these decisions that are just open inside rather than just close. The minute you close it, boom, it's out of your head. Yes or no. Yes or no. And with someone like you, what I want to do with anybody is I know the value of success. We know it, period. There's some things that you can, navigate through and talk about, and you can try to figure out where they go. But one of them is decisiveness, speed, action, implementation, meaning that our number one case studies are the people who get the best results. The best results are the ones who implement and take actions the fastest, period. It's over and over and over. Never have my best case studies ever been the person who we talked to and then they got back to me 6 months later after thinking through it 100 different times, and then got back to me and then spent the next 3 or 4 months trying to negotiate a price with me, and then finally a year later started working with me. Because guess what they do the entire time?
Right.
They need me to sit there and convince them, okay, this is the day. This is the day we want to take that step.
Yeah.
This is the day we want to pull this thing out. This is the day we want to do that. This is the day we want to actually send the email. This is the day we want to sit down in front of the camera. This is the day we want to do this. So you're constantly, if I'm the one who is required to inspire action from the client, that's going to lose all day long, right? It's just going to lose all day long. And from working literally, now with over 4,000 people, the speed at which the most successful people take action is just mind-boggling for most people. But with any program, anything I've ever sold, you take the top 1 or 2%, and they were in the place to make the decision. They made the decision. I have clients that are making $1 million, $1.5 million a month in their businesses, running multiple businesses. And we'll have the conversation. They're like, what's that going to be? I'm like, 8,500. They go, okay, great. How do I do that to you? I was like, I'll send you the link. I send them a link. I set my phone down. And before I can get over to my chair to sit down, my phone will make this alert noise. I go over and check the notification and it's paid. Like 10 seconds later, it's just card information, boom, done. That thing is out of their head. They don't have to think about it anymore. It's done. Right? Yeah. That's the top 1 or 2%. Unfortunately, that bottom 20, 30% who are continuing to struggle, it's they took them the extra day or 2 or 3 or 10. And it's just mind-bendingly painful for these folks. Sorry, my phone went off there. It's just mind-bending because they don't understand the consequence. And I'm convinced of that. They just don't understand. To them, it's like their whole life has been spent taking a long time to make a decision. So they don't really truly understand the consequence of if they just made every decision, yes or no, good or bad, right? Like when I make the wrong decision, which I make wrong decisions all the time, right? I make the wrong decision all the time, but I get to the wrong decision a lot faster than most anybody else does.
Yeah.
I get the wrong result really quick. And then I know how to course correct and how to start trying again. So the thing that most people are trying to do is they're trying to avoid a mistake, right? Like our brain is saying, well, if I just avoid the decision, avoid not making the wrong thing, avoid the misstep. So they try to avoid the decision. And meanwhile, then they finally do take the wrong step 6 months later. And then it took them 6 months to figure out that that was the wrong thing anyway. When I screwed up, I just soon figure it out today or tomorrow I screwed it up, right?
Right.
I don't want to wait till July. I don't want to wait till
Get it
July
right.
and say, hey, Adam, you know that thing I was talking about January 4th? Well, I finally did it July 19th. And guess what? It was the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, gee, Dallas, why didn't you do that 6.5 months ago?
Yeah.
You would have known it January 5th.
Yeah.
Right.
So I want to get into some tactics, right? Like we got into some really, so far, hopefully some mind benders, some people to question how they're operating just in their mindset and what they do and how they go about their day. This is just invaluable information for sure. It's just always, and truly and forever, always going to help people move the needle. But let's get into tactics as well, like some strategies, tactics, however you want to say that, into what you do. Like, okay, so for mortgage loan officer, you had some tremendous success helping mortgage loan officers. And I want to open that up to you to talk about that. And I've seen the tremendous success that you've had for mortgage loan officers, and it's just so I want the audience to listen up. If you're not a mortgage loan officer, by the way, these are strategies. Dallas works with business. Because I was using him to help me with my business for hires coaching. He has some unique ideas and some strategies and stuff like that to help you. But as a mortgage loan officer out there, and again, you all can apply this to your business. What do you do? How do you help mortgage loan officers grow their business?
Gosh, the biggest ways is something we already talked about. It's like, number one is like, just let's figure out a very clear goal. What do we want to do, right? Like the vast majority of people, they will have a plan. They say, okay, I want to do this many loans in a week or in a month, or this many connections, my annual. This is the turn I want to have. And then the next day they wake up and, it's not that they're lazy. It's not that they're stupid. They may be waking up at 5 a.m. to get the day started, but 6 or 6:30 when they're actually getting started, the reason they're not doing a lot of this stuff is they don't know what to do. They just don't know what to do. Like, well, someone says to make more calls, but I'm making more calls, but that's not doing it. Like, and I don't know why. And then I talk to my coach the next month and he says, well, just make more calls. And I'm doing calls, but it's just not working. So it's like, understand, okay, what exactly is the goal, the target, number one. Number two, then let's put some real KPIs, some real key performance indicators underneath these goals. So we know every single day, these are the things that are required. Just the tiny, simple, individual things that we are required to do every single day. And then we get into some other, these sound super basic, I know. Unfortunately, the majority of us don't do the super basic stuff, which is, let's talk to an individual in the way that they want to hear their challenges presented. Meaning that rather than saying, hey, world who's looking to buy a property or a home, let's talk to a person, right? An avatar who's looking for this type of home, this type of loan, this type of background, this type of income, this kind of car. Call them out and then drive a conversation to a place where that individual is not being talked to the same as someone who is buying their third investment property, as someone who's applying for a VA loan, as someone who is FHA, as someone who's a first-time home buyer. Like, talk to the individual people differently, meaning create some different websites, different landers, different pages that speaks to your person specifically, and then find a way to drive that individual to that page so that you're speaking directly to them about their pain, about what it is that you can remove, how you can help them. And then once you begin having that level of conversation with them, Then you can get them to get on a phone to start to schedule something with you so that you can individually talk to that person and find a way to drive people just to a page. Just send them to a page that's not a website, not a website. So they're just clicking around and looking at all the cool things you do. Don't have a lead magnet or a way to capture their information be, hey, click here to get a free quote, but have it be something super compelling that specifically speaks to that person. You do that with some form of either video or copy, and you're going to begin seeing more and more people engage with your content and with you, because it is talking specific to them. It's talking about them, their pain, their goals, their results, the things they want to overcome. Not, hey, here's a big page about my company, how many loans we did last year, and about me personally.
Yeah.
It's like, that's just, you just see it everywhere. It's like, hey, my name's Dallas, and last year we did $138 million in loans, and we did this and we did that, and we're the number 4 provider in the country, and hey, want a free quote, click here. It's like, what does that have to do with the client?
Right.
What, it has nothing to do with the client, right?
Right. They don't care. They want to hear their story in somebody else's story, right? And I think that's a big thing. Like I know I've coached on this before, and a lot of it, some of that material, obviously, I had, but then you expanded that exponentially when we were always talking. And so when I'm trying to coach even real estate agents out there, stop just talking about like you sold another home, or a loan officer, you closed another house. People don't really care about that. It's like, I don't know if you watched the movie, the new, I love it. The Sonic movie. It's got Jim Carrey on there, and he comes up to the captain. He's like, "Captain, nobody cares. Nobody cares." It's so funny. And Jim Carrey fashion. And it's like, yeah, Captain, nobody cares. Like, nobody cares that you closed how many loans, or sold so many houses. They don't really care about that. They care about their story. They care about you more than they do, themselves more than they do you, yeah. Right? That's part of it. You're not that important. You're just, and so, when it comes to avatars and all that, like literally putting a name and like dial it down to like who, like, how many children they have and everything else, like it just really dialing into talking to that one person. That speaks to a lot of people, right? I mean, that's the secret sauce, right?
Yeah, like we're doing something with a client right now, and it's just like, again, we use a very high level copywriter who they, like I said, I've been writing copy for 11 years, and I was delusional enough for a while to think I'm getting pretty good at it, because I had some people around me that are like, dude, you write really good copy, and I'm thinking, yeah, I do write really good copy, don't I? Well, I was pretty delusional in the fact of thinking that for a little while, and then all of a sudden getting around some world-class copywriters, and then when they did it, I would do my stuff and a call to action at the end, and I would get, whatever level of traction. And then I would have them do something with the call to action at it. And, it was 4, 5, 6 times. And I'm like, oh, there's a difference. So as always, there's a difference. So, we had our high level copywriter write some really, really, really great stuff. And then they're going to the page talking to the very specific first-time home buyers, like, hey, these are the 4 things you're going to be experiencing right now that I bet are super frustrating. And you read through the 4 things, you're like, yep. So it's like you not only have them accurately talk about the things that you're experiencing, but then of course you tie in the emotion, you tie in the music, you tie in the scenery, the landscaping, the imagery, the things that you can do to just evoke them to understand that they really can be the people that can make a difference. They really can have the courage to step up, and even though they have the fear of what could happen if I go through all this stuff and things don't work out and I wouldn't get a home loan, that it gets them inspired to say, this is my time to take action. This is my time to reach out. This is my time to see if I can do these things. And because you're talking to that individual rather than just saying, hey, we do a ton of loans. Yeah. It's me sitting here and saying, hey, Adam, my coaching company did over $1 million last year. How does that make you feel? It must make you feel good, huh? It's like, no, I don't really care. Right? It's like, how does that affect you?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't. That doesn't affect you. So it's about understanding you, your journey, the pains that you're probably experiencing. What is that internal dialogue? How can we emotionally connect on this stuff? And then be able to create some ways and some little mental triggers where we're going to be able to get you to take the actions that maybe otherwise you just wouldn't take on your own.
So
That's what we
some,
need.
but so some a loan officer could hire you, your company, to create some of these, to do those, or how's that work?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, as long as, and you get the drill, right? It's like, as long as we're looking for people who are the good guys and gals who are action takers and are doing stuff, are moving, and taking action and being decisive. So when we have these great fits, yeah, we figure out exactly what it is they want to do, what is the result they're trying to get, and then we start working with them to figure out, okay, this is how we can write certain sales copy on certain pages for them. This is how we can create either a video sales letter for them, i.e. a really, really, really cool video where instead of just going to a front page of a website that has some picture of them and talks about their company, that they go to these just super compelling video sales letters that inspires these people to take action, to go and do something. And yeah, and we can create some sales assets that are proven. They have been around for decades, but they work. It's direct response marketing that gets people to take action, and that will get other people to otherwise raise their hand and say, yes, I want more information. And then they can begin these conversations with them. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I know you've had some big success with, or, help loan officers have some big success with that. I mean, they're just all of a sudden they're just attracting clients, and they're, I think one story, I've seen it, you had like, right off the bat, like day one, they had like 3 clients come in, and I don't know, 1.2 million or something in sales attracted in one day from some of that, is what I think you said, correct?
Yeah,
It's
it
crazy,
it
right?
is say, yeah. I mean, again, hiring someone to do your emails, and he's never done it before. A little bit of trepidation, a little bit of, okay, well, it's like he had the best intentions, and he's a great guy, but still, there's that little voice in the back of it. It's like, hope this works, hope it works. And again, he's like, yeah, I'm pretty good at writing emails. I'm pretty good at
Yeah.
this stuff, which I'm sure he is. He's not a Hollywood trained
Right.
copywriter who's been doing that for 10 years. Dolph, get in there. He wrote the very first thing, sent it out. And literally his reply was like, okay, guys, I'm totally sold. I guess this works. LOL. And then the screenshot was he sent a referral down to a realtor partner of his in Florida. They got 2 applications come directly over. And then a guy that they had kind of disengaged from re-engaged with them, submitted the loan application for a $1.2 million home. So it was actually one of 3 apps they got, plus another referral that they sent down to someone down in Florida. And that was from one email.
Well, yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, big stuff. So I know we gotta wrap this up, but I know the listeners are probably like, whoa, that is some jet fuel, man, to really take off your business, guys and gals. I mean, so I'm definitely going to get it, with Dallas as well, see what else he can do, because we were concentrated on my hires coaching, and in this journey, obviously I want to have him help me as well in this journey, 0 to 150. And in that, if you're me, I know that'd be horrible. You'd be definitely, retracting a lot of you to be, but
I'd be bigger and stronger. That's for sure.
But if you were me, came to Georgia, new loan officer, what's 3 things that you would do right off the bat? What would you do to grow your business to 150 loans in your first year?
Boy, 3 things. I'll tell you, just bloody simple. Number 1, I would create a sales asset. And for me, it would be a video sales letter. I would have a really, really, really good 5-7 minute video sales letter, and I would drop that on a page. Number 1, not a website, a page. I would create a page and get my video sales letter with a call to action underneath of it that says, hey, if you want to talk to us, schedule an appointment. I would do that, number 1. Number 2, I would find out a way where I could start to get into a lot of conversations with my circles of influence. not the end client, circles of influence. I would start there. So I'd say, okay, who are all these different people that are coming in contact with my ideal client day after day after day after day? I'd start going out and talking to, who are these realtors? Who are these financial planners? Who are these attorneys? Who are these title companies? Who are these on and on and on? Nursing homes. Like I would figure out who are these, nursing home people coming in and out of these nursing homes, right? Assisted living facilities. They're constantly having to sell real estate, right? They're having to sell homes. People, unfortunately, they're moving into these assisted living facilities. I would do that number two. And then number three, I would figure out how can I get out and then do my outreach to my ideal client, meaning who is that first time home buyer? Who is that the person VA loan? Whoever that person is, the property investor, who do I want to talk to? And how can I figure out a way to either run an ad on a social media platform or through YouTube or whatever it is to you, LinkedIn, and then drive them to that lander. That's literally all I would do all day long. And then I would have a metric of, how do I get 50 people a day to my video? How do I get 100 a day? How do I get 150 a day? And then I would begin building a team like crazy, because I would be so upside down busy with, if that's all I did, send them there, send them there, send them there, send them there. I would very quickly be required to hire the team that would help to be able to manage all that business.
Nice. Well, that is a lot to unpack. Love it, man. You brought the fire, Dallas Hardcastle. But no, man, there was a lot. I mean, there was, everybody should understand how high level you are after talking. And you can say, hey, I'm not, or whatever, but like you are, because you have figured these things out, and you're continuously trying to figure out more and more and better ways and way to operate at a quicker, faster, more efficient, effective, and really truly effective pace. And that's what we're talking about in this, is like you were talking about effective channels to really grow your business the quickest, the fastest, way. And that's what we want to do. We want to gain altitude as quickly as possible, and getting in front of as many people, and again, dial it into opening up the conversation, not closing it off. And that's what it's about. If we get in open conversations that we're, at the same plane as the other person, we're speaking their language, we are going to, help more families. We're going to help more people. And, we can only rise to the levels we want to by helping other people. So, Dallas, you got anything to end this podcast
the last
with?
thing that will help everyone with gaining more traction and more speed and more success the fastest humanly possible is just train yourself. These are conversations you'll be having multiple times a day in the beginning, and then every day, and then every week. But just train yourself to be comfortable with just understanding the next step and then just executing it. I know beyond all reasonable doubt that most people don't take action because they're so busy trying to figure out all of the steps. And they can't figure out all the steps. They can't figure out what step 6 and 7 and 9 and 13 look like, because they haven't taken the first step. And their brain is scrambled with the fact that they have no idea what this outcome on step 9 is going to look like, although they have no idea what step 1 is. So just get yourself used to just taking the next step. Just take the next step. Like I have a company that we're just literally just launching here within the past couple of weeks, and I have no idea what steps 3, 4, and 5 are. I have no idea what they are. All I know is I'm going to take step 1. I've taken step 1. We've hired a couple of people. We're getting some lists. We're getting data pulled. We're getting the callers in there. That's step 1. I have no idea. People are like, well, what if blah, blah, blah. And they're asking me about steps 3, 4, 5, 7. I have no idea. I don't know. But I do know what step 1 is. And now, as soon as we begin to execute on step 1, then guess what? We're going to start to look at 2 and say, okay, this is starting to make some sense now. Now I see why 2 starts to show that way. So just whatever you're doing, whatever marketing, sales, training, mentorship, coaching, consultation, investing in yourself, invest in yourself, for heaven's sakes, invest in yourself. Do that at the speed you're not going to know all the steps. You will never know all the steps, because the steps are constantly changing and morphing and bending. with time as things progress. So just get comfortable with understanding this is the next step. And as long as I understand the next step, go do it. And you're going to start to see then the path begin to illuminate itself as you're moving, but it requires movement. It requires taking the next step in order for steps 2, 3, and 4 to actually show themselves. Otherwise, you will never see step 5 before you take step 1. It never happens.
Yeah, that's great advice for sure. Dallas, they can find you LinkedIn or just Dallas Hardcastle, right? They can find you Facebook, Dallas Hardcastle. Where else can they find you? What's your websites?
Really, those are the best. Facebook, Dallas Hardcastle, LinkedIn, Dallas Hardcastle, and just go to dallashardcastle.com. Those will be some of the quick, easy, fast ways to be able to figure out who we are and what we're about, and a little bit about what we do.
Absolutely. Well, check out Dallas, follow him. What I can tell you about Dallas is that, have a conversation with him, even if it's a 5-minute conversation and you'll be better off for it. So reach out to him. If you all want to, please do me a favor. If you love the podcast, give me a rating, tell me what you liked about it. That way we can get the word out to help other mortgage loan officers grow. That's what it's about, having a great community. Go to my I have a powerful it's a power with a 4 in the middle, FUL, group page on Facebook. Get in there. Follow me. I'm now on TikTok going as well. You could follow me on anywhere. Adam Hires. Look me up. Send me a message. Let me know what you think about the podcast. How can I help you more? And I'm not talking about selling you or getting my program. Like what can we talk about on the podcast? Just having a conversation with me. I'm here to help you grow because that's what it's about, the community. Hope everybody has a amazing 2021. Let's go blast through it. Remember, guys, limited risks equals limited income.